This is a 5-minute call from for the Green Party.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mojo Mathers.
I would like to start by picking up on the point that was made by Jackie Dean just now around her confusion as to why the Greens were concerned about the exclusion of non-ionising radiation in the bill. And the point that we're making is that we need a consistent regulatory framework for all forms of radiation, that harmful radiation. And this is the important part. We're talking about harmful radiation. I don't think anyone is saying that no forms of non-ionising radiation is not harmful. And that is the point. We recognise that some forms of non-ionising radiation, such as ultraviolet sunlight, are harmful. There is well-established scientific basis for that level of harm. And what we're saying is that we need to bring that into a consistent regulatory framework. We do support the aim of this bill, which is around protecting people from harm from radiation and protecting the health and safety of people, both consumers and workers. And it's abundantly clear, as many people have said, that this bill is outdated and that current radiation laws are not really fit for purpose anymore, because they no longer take into account new technology, new information, changing attitudes, greater knowledge and understanding of the harm that can be posed by different forms of radiation. And this is why government regulation is so absolutely essential, because consumers cannot possibly know when they're being x-rayed or subject to radiation for any purpose whatsoever at what level it is harmful to them. They cannot know if the equipment is working as it should be and that it fits for purpose. And I mean, it's stating the obvious. Most radiation is invisible. And the harmful impacts are not immediately apparent. Sometimes they can take years for the cumulative damage to become clear and result in increased risk of skin cancer and so on. And precisely because of this, we have to rely the public on expert knowledge, on government regulation, and we have to trust. We place a huge amount of trust. We're placing our health and safety into the hands of regulators. And so we have to have trust that the system is robust and strong. I need to, for example, have trust that when I go to my dentist and have my 6-monthly x-ray, that is not going to place me at undue risk of some form of tumour in later life. And this is the whole point. It is based on trust, and it's based on trust in the government and in the public health experts that they will set levels and use all the knowledge that's available to them in setting that level. And whereas this bill is proposing to do that for ionising forms of radiation, and as we've said before, as my colleague Kevin Hogue has said, it's well established that some forms of non-ionising radiation is harmful. I mean, this is just simple, basic fact, and I can't understand why people are saying, oh, well, we don't need to consider non-ionising radiation because it's a different kind of radiation. The impacts are the same. They have health impacts. Some forms do. So the same principles need to apply to both forms of radiation. We need to regulate both of them. And the point about microwave that was made by Jackie Dean earlier, well, every point that Sue was making could equally apply to smoke alarms. You don't want over-regulation of microwaves, you don't want over-regulation of smoke alarms, but that doesn't mean to say you shouldn't have some form of regulation, and that you shouldn't, that same framework, regulatory framework, should equally apply to microwaves and to smoke alarms. So to include smoke alarms but not include microwaves is an inconsistent approach. And that is what we're asking for, is a consistent approach to both forms of radiation. And then that, because by excluding non-ionising radiation, they're actually going to feed public concerns around the health impacts of these, because they can't understand why. We already have concerns around food irradiation, Wi-Fi, cell phone towers, and so on. And I don't think it helps to exclude these forms from this piece of legislation. The original 2004 regulatory impact statement proposed to include non-ionising radiation. Our argument is that it should do and will be consistent with Australia in that approach. Thank you.
5-minute call from the Labor Party.